one of the biggest circuses at Anfield at this moment, and the biggest clown of lot is Jurgen Klopp. I've had enough of him.
It's not so important what people think when you come in. It's much more important what people think when you leave.
I think he's done a good job. I think we have to remember where Liverpool were when he arrived, and that was a bad place. He's created belief around Liverpool again that we can take on sides, that we can win things.
No manager's perfect, and Jurgen Klopp is, it falls well within that category because the things are not 100% right. Because Liverpool aren't top of the league and they're not winning every game of football. And of course, no team does. What Jurgen Klopp's building at Liverpool is something very, very interesting and could be something very, very special.
You leave the stadium, you want to see the next game. You can't wait for the next game. That's what football should be.
I think Jurgen Klopp has done a decent job at Liverpool so far. I think he's changed the environment, the expectations of the club. I think the club needed somebody to really shake it all up after things had gone stale.
I think we have to remember that the Liverpool job is a difficult job. There's huge expectation because of what Liverpool have won in the past. There's huge expectation because of the size and the breadth of the fan base.
What is true, I think, is that he quite likes a challenge. He's never been coaching in a club where at the beginning of the season people say, if he doesn't win the league, that's a big disappointment. In a way, I think the situation is exactly the same at Liverpool. The question is, do the public realise it's exactly the same? Or do they somehow believe that it's Klopp and Liverpool, therefore they must be challenging for the title in the second full season?
The expectations are perhaps too high sometimes for Liverpool. I think every season we start off with talking about league titles, and the fact that it's been 27 years since we last won one tells you how hard that is.
I think Jurgen Klopp is performing within realistic expectations of Liverpool at the moment. I think he's actually probably performing beyond them when you consider in his first, not even a full season in charge, he took Liverpool to 2 finals. He then went on and took the club into a top 4 finish.
That fulfilled expectations, but of course raised new expectations. Okay, the next step now is to win trophies, to win maybe the Premier League, and he's struggling, I think, to live up to that part of the expectation.
Please give us the time to work on it.
It's become a narrative around Liverpool now that there is a defensive problem.
It is definitely an issue that Liverpool need to address. It's somewhere Liverpool absolutely need to improve.
Yes, we could do with better individuals, and yes, I think we could be better organised at times. Is that down to the manager, some of that? I would say maybe a little bit, but also it's down to individuals. So many of the goals are down to concentration, are down to silly moments, and I don't really know how you coach that out of a player.
I don't think there's anything in his history overall, both as a player where he was a centre-back or right-back for a long time, or as a manager, to suggest that he is somehow inherently deficient when it comes to coaching defence. I don't think that's backed up by his history. And it's not backed up by last season, because if you can manage to go 10 games unbeaten against the best sides in the Premier League, you must be doing something right.
But if Liverpool's strikers were slightly bit more clinical, which I think they have the ability to be, a couple of easy chances that Liverpool haven't taken in recent games, and I don't think people are talking about the defence as much as they are. It's no disrespect to Jurgen Klopp to have a similar starting record to Brendan Rodgers.
I don't make much of comparisons with Brendan Rodgers' reign, really, because it's a completely different time with a completely different set of players and completely different circumstances. Brendan Rodgers had Luis Suarez at his disposal, he had Steven Gerrard, he had Raheem Sterling, he had Sturridge at his very best. Klopp's got none of those things.
They're far less reliant upon one individual as Rodgers was with Luis Suarez. I can only imagine if Jurgen Klopp had a Luis Suarez to plug into this team, I think his record would be a damn sight better than Brendan Rodgers.
At Dortmund, it took him 3 years before he won the Bundesliga, and then in the 4th year they won the double. So he is still within that time frame if you want to compare it. But then this is a very different era in football. We have the Premier League awash with money, where even spending 40, 50, 60, maybe 100 million pounds doesn't really move the needle as far as your relative strength to the bigger sides is compared.
Because we don't have the ability right now to compete at the top end with this, and the spending power with the mega rich clubs of world football, we have to find a different way of doing it. And if that way is swashbuckling, exciting, attacking, aggressive, getting in people's face football, then great. We played a very defensive brand of football under Rafa Benitez, and that didn't deliver us a title either.
I think he likes a certain vibe around Anfield. He likes it to be positive. He likes it to be supportive of players, and he doesn't like it to be about him.
His attitude, his mentality is so Liverpool. It's ridiculous that you couldn't find a manager. I don't think that's a better fit for almost the Scouse mentality, as it were.
All the people told me so much about the British press and so on, so it's up to you to show me that they're all liars.
I think he likes the spirit of the city. I think he likes the fact that there's some fighting spirit about Liverpool, and he's trying to do that with his team. He's trying to create a team that's got that fighting spirit as well, and at its best, you know, it's a team you can really get behind.
I still think that at the end of the season he will achieve the target of the club. Whether the fans will be happy with Liverpool just sort of slowly building up and getting closer to the big sides remains to be seen.
I want to have my cake and eat it, and that's great football and success. And I still believe, naively or not, that we can do that.